Let's go. This may be the funniest interview that we've had in the history of the Mickey Zizzy podcast. Former Cornell College thrower and football player, a Marion alumni, a fantastic mullet, and some good vibes. Ladies and gentlemen, Brevin Hahn. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, glad to be here. Glad to be here.
No, everyone who is listening, we were just chatting before. He was on the Hilltop. It's Cornell's like new podcast, sports podcast, talks about all the Cornell sports, and he was on it. And it was absolutely electric. I listened to it. I had to get him on, so that's why he is here. Really good friend. Also got to play with throw and play with you my first year, and then after that, he just graduated this past spring. But Brevin, how was the Cornell College experience? It's awesome to have some former Rams on here on the podcast.
Cornell College experience was pretty great. I know my sophomore year, COVID kind of, it was an interesting time. I'd be walking through the dorms and then there would be people saying, "Hey, you're not wearing a mask," or stuff like that. And then I would walk past a room with the door open, people are in there, and I see people, kissing with mask on. It was definitely an interesting time, I'll say that. No, it's like you got to stop the spread of COVID, but I mean, you still got to make love some way. So,
Kind of love we may call it Luke Combs. That's hilarious. But I mean, for you, it's funny that you bring that up because you had everyone's like, oh, I had a different college experience, but you really did because no one else experienced a pandemic in college and everyone was trying to get it right. And there are so many ways. So it's just funny that, the different sides of it all and the severities of it
hmm
all in school. So you definitely had quite the experience at Cornell.
Oh yes, I did.
You also got to experience, it should have been your senior year, the new saw. It's the new facility, the first person we've had on that's actually got to experience it as an athlete. Give a little light to how great this new facility is.
Well, to anybody who's been to the old building, it definitely a huge step up. I mean, first of all, we got proper air circulation. That's always nice. I know the weight room sometimes it was super nice getting good, nice hot sweat by just walking in there. But at the same time, I like it, normal, the little cooler temperature. But no, I mean they got the nice little like 20 yards of turf there that you can do like nice stretches or you can do some sled pushes. You don't have to bring it out to the football field. Um, Gosh, I mean, just because they got a bunch of TVs in there now, and now they just cycle through all the athletes that has succeeded, or just they got a good picture of them. They wanted to throw them up there. Sadly, they never got any good pictures of me, but it's fine. It's fine out.
Dang gummit.
I know the podcast, the Jump and Jack podcast I was on. They had a picture of my buddy Nate Waters,
Yep.
who's long jumping. I'm like, what about me? I mean, I don't think I was at that meet because that was at the end of football season. But also, I mean, who wants to see this chunky monkey on the screen? I mean, come on.
No, you're so right, and that is some of the luxuries you were talking about this new facility. I mean, you can put your athletes up there, and when recruits want to come, they want to see that. Like, whoa, like that's a picture of some dude playing last year, and he gets to be showing up in front of everybody. Obviously, that's another
hmm
extrinsic motivation. And you also talked about the good air circulation. I think you're the first person to actually mention that. I just say it's top of the line, so you really get down to it. So that's funny.
hmm
But like for people who didn't experience it, like y'all, it was rough. Let's just say, you were at the bottom of the totem pole for. I mean, the experience was great, but like the facility wise, I
Yeah.
mean, our lockers barely open. It was from the 1980s. I think even before then, the alumni would come and they'd be like, trying to hype us up before a football game. They're like, these are the same locker room I had. So like, just from that, I really did love their old weight room. It was nice, big, but you said hot. Like, some people like
hmm
it a little bit cooler. But yeah, it's top of the line for sure. And you just mentioned all the good things, people have already talked
I would
about.
say also another great part about this was they had some really comfy chairs in the lounge. And I know at the old one, it's like before lifting sessions, you had to like sit against the wall or something, which was, I mean, it was fine. It did its job, but like just sit in these comfy chairs, like, oh my gosh, game changer. Like I like have my legs sitting up on it, or I was
You're
just
so
completely
right. We would
chillaxing.
legit be laying down, like sitting in front of the weight room, like, oh, here we go. Like we're all leaned up, talking. I remember I saw like pictures and selfies from it. And now you can go sit up in the saw, wait, talk, look at Chunky Monkey on the screen. Be like, yeah, look at that dude. He's one good looking cat. And you can actually have like a more pleasant. Like after, I think I'd probably stay in the saw after workouts or after practice just to chill and hang out before going up to the calf. But like before, you
Hmm.
got out. You either chilled in the training room or you got out of there. So that's awesome that you also talked about that.
Yeah, no, the training room also. It's definitely some of that like D1-ish type training room is like it's a little smaller, but no, they got the jet was
Yep. Hot tub.
the jet yeah, the hot tub jets. Oh my gosh, that's a game changer.
Lucky dude. When I was in school, we had 7 cross-country runners standing in their calves warm. I'm over here sitting like here, and there's another person across from me sitting. We're all chilling in this small little tub. We're like, yep, this is great. And then the next one is ice, and like you legit fill it all up. And I go in there, I'm like, you legit could have a swim in here. That's crazy cool.
You could do
Um,
that, but the one thing I will say, their cold tub, I mean, it does its job, but nothing will ever beat the polar bears that we did back in the day. So
No,
I
yeah, you
miss
get
those.
those random buckets and stuff that you found
Oh
on the
yeah.
side of the street, and then you fill it all up with ice and you get it. It's freezing cold. Especially those solo ones, like that was no joke. Those were cold.
No, like I just remember being a freshman, all the upperclassmen, hey, we get the solar ones, we get the solo ones.
Yeah.
Or like, I know a couple of them would be sharing the solo ones. I'm like, how do y'all fit in there? Like something's touching something in there. That's all I'm saying.
Right, touch each other's feet. Oh man, too funny. No, that's just awesome. I mean, it's funny that you have also got to experience what it was before, and then you also got to experience the new. So once again, it goes to your crazy experience at Cornell.
Hmm.
While being at Cornell, though, you were a thrower, and I want you to talk more about it. I think you might have talked about it on Jumpin' Jack, but snack and field. That's kind of the name for the throwers or the sport that y'all do. I've heard it from a couple other throwers, but what is snack and field for people that don't know?
Well, it's a bunch of bigger gentlemen or women who love to get together, love to throw heavy things far, and we love to talk about food. And the reason we're talking about food is because we have our snacks there. Because unlike a runner like you, throwing stuff is very mental and physically demanding, but at the same time you have downtime, and you could have long downtime between going from hammer to shot, or like depending on who's throwing what. So you can pop open like those giant bags of Cheez-Its that you can find, or like the extra toasted ones. Or I know on our shirt last year we had like a mini goldfish. But that's when the throwers, I mean, we're just a bunch of big boys and girls just getting together, talking about food. I mean, I know there are a bunch of times we would walk around like, okay, guys, favorite steak at Texas Roadhouse, go. And so like we would talk about steak, we would talk about the new Raising Cane's off of Collins Road. And I mean, just be talking about food the whole time, then it's like, oh, I'm so hungry. Well, time to go throw.
I mean, that just sparked a thought in my mind. Like the best food critics have to be throwers. I mean, just from the conversations that you had, and y'all are your own little community. Like everybody loves everybody because you sit around, talk with them, you stand in line talking about Texas Roadhouse steaks. But like you walk up to them like they're buddy, like you go to school with them and like you're super cool with them. Like runners, you don't get that as much. Obviously, I have a few other friends from other schools, but like
Yeah,
throwers, man, they all love each other, and that's awesome.
because I know for us, I mean, Cornell Co rivalry, that's big. But with the co throwing team, I think I probably have some of like the most fun with those guys. I mean, we both say like the stupidest stuff. Like I know one of their guys plays on the football team, and they're going off roll call. They're like, oh, Joey from Co is like, oh, he's a little late, and then like he's like blitzing in from spring ball practice. Is like, guys, coach let me go early, and like was my roommates who are the twins, Andrew and Matthew Corley. We all just looked at each other like, your football coach let you out early? And he's like, yeah, I know, right? That's crazy.
No, that's awesome. And that's like the whole fun of it too, is talking with them, sharing those experiences, and just eating all the food. And like, I am actually jealous because I'm a runner. Like, you legit just get to eat and throw stuff far and yell and scream and just get
Hmm.
excited for one another. And there is pressure, but at the same time, like, all right, I get another shot at it. I get throw number two. Where
Yeah.
running, you get 100, and if you don't make
You
500,
just get
like,
them one.
oh snap. And like, it's a whole lot harder. Like, 400s suck, but like, I almost got to throw a shot actually my sophomore year for the Co versus Cornell. So people who don't know, it's the Bremner Cup. You go up against all these events, and at the time, I think we only had Brad Pace, former Cornell thrower as well, and then we had no other throwers, and we needed points. We just needed to get one. So at the time, the coach was like, "Mickey, like, you just need to go throw. Just get a mark. We don't care." I'm like, "Let's go!" I'm getting all excited. I'm getting all my like stuff down and whatnot. And then this other kid comes out, and I'm like, oh, my one dream I could have had, like, picture throwing and live it up. But that's my only throwing story. But I am super jealous. Like, even like jab, I always wanted to throw jab. Did you ever dabble in jab?
Oh, no, 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 no. Every time like we had newer coaches like, "Hey, Brevin, you want to throw a jab?" I'm like, "Sorry, my shoulder from the war. I mean, I got an injury there. It's not looking so hot." It's like literally you would go to conference if you just get a mark. I'm like, "No, I'm good."
uh, no, that's awesome. And there is just so many like throwing events. It's awesome. But let's go back to the snack part of your sport. What is the best meet day snack?
Oh, best meat day snack. Um, because I know I've had like homemade protein balls someone has made. I'm like those always slap. Otherwise, there was one time I remember I went to a gas station and I got a packet of those sour gummy worms, and then I don't ever remember where I put them. Got to track season, I opened it up, opened my bag up, and then that's where they were sitting. I'm like, no way. I was so excited. I mean, it was just like a little pack, but like sour gummy worms just hit differently for me at least. I know like the good old classic, like I know extra toasted Cheez-Its are important. Every now and then I'll get a 2 pound bag of beef jerky because you can't just get the little one. I mean,
Oh
come
yeah.
on, because you open a thing of beef jerky, everyone's going to look at it like a pack of gum at like a classroom, and they're like, "Hey, could I have some? Could I have some?" And I'm like, if I say no, I'm a mean person, so I got to.
Oh, that's funny. But the extra toasted cheeses, I did not know that was like top of the line snack food for the
Oh no,
throwers.
it's so much crunchier. I mean, there's like some that are like I mean they're extra toasted, so some of them are like burnt. But I mean, extra toasted ones they're a little bit crispier, and they have a little tang to it that just it's different. Like I mean,
Yeah,
original cheese it's are always a good go-to,
yeah, like I
but
said, I'm still so jealous. I remember I'd eat just before my first race. I'd have a Snickers bar, lunch, whatever, and then I wouldn't eat the rest of the week. So I'm like, I can't eat. I still got to run XYZ 4x4, this and that. But like, pop in a few cheeses. All right, let's go PR or eat those sour gummy worms and send this super far. But that's awesome. Anything else about snack and field or about throwing before we move on to our next subject?
um, so I would say that's the best snack. But
Oh, okay.
also like yeah, it's called snack and field, but we also do lunches and dinners while we're still throwing also because when when we're over by our throwing ring and stuff, we're pretty far from team camp, so we can't get like PB&Js and stuff like that. So that's when the parents come in. And so my mom and dad would always be at every throwing event. My mom would always be making some type of slider on like the King's
Yep.
Hawaiian buns. She'd throw a bunch of different lunch meats on there and cheese. And I know all of our throwers on our team, that was like a go-to. Like they would come over like, "Oh hi, Bubba Hahn, oh hi. Hey, where are the sandwiches at?"
Yeah,
And so what?
for people who don't know, the Hans are the tailgating goats, the greatest of all time. They were legit the like king and queen of tailgating at Cornell Sports. Like, everyone went around their tailgate, and to bring it like the little like to go van, like the Han to go van to all the throwing events. I can only imagine. I know they always support you. They're one of the biggest support systems, and that's just funny that they come up to them still. I'm like, oh, I'm a Han, which I don't know what they're gonna do. this next year. They don't have any tailgating events to go to besides.
I don't know about that because Isaac and I are officially done. Well, Isaac's still doing
Yeah, semi.
semi-pro football,
Yeah.
and but I mean, fall season's all open, so that means
Right?
Iowa games every freaking weekend probably. So
There you go. No, that's awesome. But continue on about your lunches, Mama Hahn, and
uh, although that actually reminds me, she also still brought back the classic buffalo wraps. That I don't think I could choose one snack because she'll always be making like sliders, buffalo wraps, pickle wraps. I mean,
are you talking about the swirls, the buffalo swirls?
yeah.
Like, dude, top of the line, like just y'all don't understand. Like, it's one of the best food. If you ever get a tailgate, like you have to have the swirls, the barbecue dip. So that's awesome.
I would say for all 4 years of my football career, that was the number one requested meal from everybody on the Cornell team.
Oh man, no, it's. I mean, even after games, people would go, so that's awesome. So huge shout out to them and supporting Snack and Field, being probably one of the proudest and biggest sponsors of Snack and Field. As we transition here, we're gonna talk about all probably the most random stuff. But before, you are a Chicago Bears fan like myself, and we've had some pretty heart to hearts. We've had the optimism, we've had the sad downfalls. What is the outlook for the Chicago Bears this year, coming from Brevin Hahn?
Well, it's the off season, so I would say unless you're a Cardinal fan, I would say everyone's super optimistic about their season. But I would say that I don't know where to look at for Chicago because for the off season, I mean, past I don't know how many years I've seen it like with Mitch Trubisky, with Mike Glennon, with Jay Cutler, like all these guys will have, I'll hear news reports, I'll see videos like, oh, like, no, that's a really good throw. They have really good throws. They're tearing it up on against the defense and stuff like that. And then we get to the season and it's just like, what happened? What happened to all that? Now I know like Mike Glennon didn't get that much love, but that, for example, but I will say it's definitely different energy with Justin Fields just because not all the teammates were. I would say like there was some offensive linemen coming for Mitch Trubisky, which I still love Mitch. I hope he is successful somewhere. But just like there's some offensive linemen who came out. I was like, yeah, no, Mitch is definitely improving stuff like that. But for Chicago now, like we have our freaking defense coming out. Like Jaquan Brisker's showed up being like, yeah, I mean him and DJ Moore are just like they're blowing my mind. I'm like, okay, I like this. I definitely like this. And then I think probably the most exciting for me is the running back room that we have.
You don't think it's exciting?
I like it. I think Khalil Herbert has been a solid second running back for us. Devontae Foreman, I guess my hype for him was I had him at the end of fantasy football last year, and I mean he was balling for me. And then Roschon Johnson, I'm like he slid to us in the 5th round. Like, yeah, I mean he slid, so other teams didn't think highly of him. But also he is behind Bijan Robinson, so he wasn't going to get a chance to freaking shine at all. So I think that's a very intriguing group for me to see where it goes. I mean, like, yeah, it could like, okay, Khalil Herbert maybe should have gotten all the hype. Devontae Foreman is a backup running back, and then Roschon is definitely a 5th round pick. But also, it's like, I mean, I just think there's so much potential there for that group.
I'm kind of mad at you because I'm sold on it. Because I was such a big David Montgomery fan. I wanted to name my firstborn child Montgomery.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. I was pissed that Monty got signed to the Lions of all people. I was like, oh man, they let him go. I mean, I've never been a big fan whenever Chicago let a running back go. Like Matt Forte when he left. It's probably like he left, he went to the Jets. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing to him? And then I had Jeremy Langford that year. Then Jeremy got hurt. And then Jordan Howard came in. Jordan Howard had like a good 3-year stretch. And then Jordan Howard was my favorite running back. And I know everyone was saying like, oh, he didn't fit Matt Nagy's system. Like he can't catch. I'm like, well, obviously no one fits Matt Nagy's system besides Monty.
And oh man, like you make some good points. And that's the thing. We've been talk about the podcast about running backs and just how easy it is to go. And you almost
Oh,
want a
jeez.
dude who's trying to prove themselves to be a good football team, right? You have Pacheco from the Chiefs, right? He was balling, doing all this and that. He was a seventh
Mm-hmm.
round pick. So the Bears, I guess, are trying to do that. They're going to believe in Khalil Herbert. He was a 6th round pick from Virginia Tech. And then
Yeah.
Devontae Foreman, the interesting fact about him, he had the same rushing yards as David Montgomery did because like injuries and this and that. So like I thought that
Yeah.
was like the efficiency level between those two are very, very similar. So I kind of forget about him when I think about the running back room. And then Roshan Johnson, right? Yeah, from Texas, our pick this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like he wants to prove himself. He wants to be like, hey, like I shouldn't have been backing up at Texas, right? I am that dude. So he's gonna have a
Mm-hmm.
huge chip on his shoulder, which they have all the motivation in the world as this running back group because no one has any expectations of them. My first thought was like, oh man, our running back room isn't great. Like it's all going to be turning up to the O line.
Yeah.
But from your side of it, like it's so right. So you just got me even more excited for my
Yeah.
Chicago Bears.
Which I would definitely agree. Like offensive line, I mean, it's going to depend. I would like the Nate Davis signing. I was like, okay. I mean,
It's
I
better.
wasn't, yeah, it's better because I didn't know what they were doing for center. I was kind of hoping we would get some of was I think the Wisconsin or Minnesota guy were in my thought process were like the best centers in the draft, and they were
Yeah.
falling like the 2nd round. But then they're like, oh, we're moving Cody Whitehair back, or
That's
they
big.
trust
I
in,
love that.
or they trust in Lucas Patrick. I was like, I'm like, okay, well, you got that, and then I was happy they got Darnell Wright, because I know he kind of came up recently, and like, I mean, at least the NFL media, I mean, the Bears probably saw him on day one and was like, oh yeah, no, this is our guy, and we're not telling everybody about him.
Yeah. Which
But yeah, you go.
I was upset when we didn't get Paris Johnson Jr. From Ohio State. He's a dog, but like all the good guys, like from Alabama, this and that, they say like Darnell Wright's the dude, and he's
Mm-hmm.
big, tall, he can move. Like that's all a good thing. So I think he's gonna be a solidified thing. And then Braxton Jones was very, very underrated. He had like one of the most efficiency like per snap, like pass snaps,
Yeah.
in the NFL just based on efficiency level. So like that's great coming back. And you are right. We do have Lucas Patrick from Green Bay. We got him last year. He's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be a great fit, and he's on the bench this year. Like he's gonna be that 6th man, and he can go to center. He can go to guard. So we have
Yeah.
a guy who's just as good. Because I'm not too big on Tavon Jenkins. I think we got him, 2-3 years ago. I'm not too
Jeez.
great on him because he's been
Yeah.
injury prone. He didn't play his first year. So like Lucas Patrick can fill in right there. So like we got 6 dudes, but we don't have
Mm-hmm.
the dude. Obviously, it's hard to find the dude in O line, and you know all about it being an offensive lineman. Like it is hard.
Yeah.
I totally hear you. But like, and like how they grade O lines. But like you said, Nate Davis will be good. He'll start him and Lucas Patrick can maybe go, hand in hand. So
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Otherwise, the only spot that is still interesting me on Chicago is the defensive line, which I know like yeah, we invested a lot of like draft picks in them, and I know we have was it Justin Jones who are our defensive tackle from last year. I
Yeah.
think he's coming back. And so it's just I mean, right now like I'm just a little interested to see what they're going to do because I mean it's a very unproven unit. The only one I know is Justin Jones, who I mean he wasn't bad last year, but just because we had nobody else. So that was my only thing. I mean, I'm assuming our other two guys were probably going to ball out because I know according to like the NFL Combine, like they were like one of the top tier athletic defensive tackles.
The ones we just got,
Yeah,
Pickens from South Carolina, which
yeah,
I
Pickens. Yeah.
love that pick. That was one pick when I was doing my mock drafts. I wanted them to go pick up, and they did.
Mhm.
And they also got Dominique Robinson. I think he was last year's draft. And then they got Dexter Senior from Florida, which
Yeah,
those are solid dudes. And they're on the bench right now according to the depth chart, which I think is kind of crazy. They'll probably
yeah.
throw their way in.
I mean, yeah,
So-
I'm not too worried about the depth chart now because I know, like the Chicago Bears like podcast and stuff I watch, they're like, oh, we don't have a third tight end. I'm like, are we so worried about a third tight end? What are we so?
Aren't we a spread? We got so many receivers now, which I love our receiver room.
Yeah.
But no, defense will struggle. I love Jack Sanborn. He really came alive. He reminds me of like a Brian Urlacher, a guy who can cover, a guy who just knows it, and he's still trying to prove himself. I think he was undrafted. And then I love our secondary. Hopefully Brisker. You said you were kind of sold on him. I'm not so much, but Kyle Gordon, Jalen Johnson, Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson's my dude. Like, if we get rid of Eddie Jackson,
Oh no, I'm so happy he had a bounce back year this last year. And then that made me so mad the Jets game when he got hurt and they're like, oh, look at this big play. Eddie Jackson's literally the guy who would have made that tackle.
Yeah.
Literally on the ground, like screaming that his ankle got busted up. And I'm like, that's a free play, okay? I mean, I hope, was it Mike White who started against us would make that play against
right.
10 guys on the field.
No, and we also went Trayman Edmonds and TJ Edwards. It's gonna be two great pickups, I think, for the defense to really solidify that.
Yeah.
So and did the job. Our offseason, Ryan Pace is a dude. I love Ryan Pace. Poles, sorry, not Ryan Pace.
Poles. I was about to say.
Pace. Ryan Poles, my bad. Poles. Chef Poles, some people call him. Not Pace, man. Sorry, some things just never changed, I guess. But Chef Poles definitely doing the right thing. But yeah. Anything else about the Bears? I mean, like I said, I'm super optimistic. I have all the hope in the world. Keep talking about the Lions because guess what? Chicago, go be that underdog. I'll get even more excited.
I would say the NFL draft was something that also made me furious. Like Chicago made their pick. I was happy about.
Could have got Jalen Carter.
Right.
I made the mistake earlier in our interview. Like they could have got Jalen Carter, not Paris Johnson. Like, oh my goodness, he's so good. He's the best D lineman, but the off the field issues, I get it. But
I'm like, in Ryan Poles' sake, I was like, this is his first round pick for Chicago he's making because last year he got Kyler Gordon the second. Yep. I'm like, that's something you can't. Like, I mean, if you get Jalen Carter, it's like, I mean, you better hope to God he's like he is that player and he's not going to be that problem. But no, I think he made a good pick. And then literally, I think a couple picks after Green Bay was on the clock. And I'm like, okay, please tell me Green Bay is going to botch this pick. When they said Lucas Van Ness, I don't think I've been more pissed at a Green Bay pick ever because I'm like, oh, they totally got a good developmental defensive lineman. I'm like, I was running through my suite just cursing and like as it came out, it's like, all right, what happened? Because
he's got so much hype, especially like after the season. His draft stock was rising. He's gonna go be good. I mean, his nickname's Hercules. Like the dude is yoked. The dude is very well put together. And yeah, I was kind of sad we didn't get that. Or I was hoping Jack Campbell would slide to the second round.
Oh, the freaking Lions too, like everyone.
And they got Sam Laporta. Like all the Hawks are going to NFC North. We don't want this. Bring them to Chicago.
I know, like the last couple of guys we've had in Chicago was Riley Reef, who I mean he was like 30-something years old, and for what he was, he didn't do bad at right tackle. But I mean he wasn't the ideal right tackle. And then Amir Smith-Marset, which sadly didn't pan out there at all. He had that fumble against the
should have went out of bounds against
Vikings. I know it was that. And then I know he had a couple bad drops in the terrible Commanders-Bears game on Thursday Night Football. And I was like, he was gone. I was like, dang, that sucks. But hey, you got a Super Bowl ring because he was on the Chiefs practice squad.
Right, he's chilling with the ring. Too funny. But as we transition, it's been awesome. You gave me even more excitement about the Chicago Bears. I know we always send snaps. I always send like the snaps. I like to text to all the Bears fans, like, here we go. Gotta believe. Like, it always super excited. But the one thing I love talking to you about, this is the more fun side of this interview, is just the most random questions and answers that, you come up with, that I came up with. So I definitely feel like we're going to vibe off this. So if you want some random answers, here we go. Oldest one in the book. What came first, the chicken or the egg, Brevin?
Dude, I can't even answer this question because they always been asking this, like, oh, what came first, chicken or the egg? Or it's like, I know people like bring it religiously or they bring it into like commercials. I know like Chick-fil-A did that for a bit, but it's like, I'm just going to go off the edge here. I'm going to say the chicken came first. He blooped into the universe and like, there we go. That's him. That's it. That's how you answer it. And it's I mean, yeah, he just blooped in the universe. I don't know how else to answer that question because it's like, I mean, an egg, like if egg's gonna grow into baby chick and they're gonna have to figure stuff out. I'm like, nah, this chicken knew what was going on. You got blooped in the universe. It just happened. Stuff just happens the way it happens. So that's how it happened.
just happened. Well, I'm on the other side of the spectrum here. I'm the egg first. I think
Ah,
dinosaurs, two crazy creatures, got together. They were kissing with masks on at Cornell College, and then had the egg. That's how I picture it. I'm like, two things got to come together and make the egg. It changes. There's different breeds of dogs. I don't know. That's kind of where my mind goes when it comes to that. But I love the bloop. Just bloop chicken. Sweet. End of that story.
I'm sorry. I've seen too many movies to where it's like, okay, stuff just happens because it happens. Okay, don't need to go into it. It just happens.
Don't question it. Awesome. Well, let's just move on to our next one then. Besides the jab, hammer, disc, and weight throw in track and field, what should be the next Olympic or track and field throwing? It could be anything. The next throwing object they throw and put into the sport of track and field. Like you're coming up with it. They're coming to you and say, hey, we need to bring some energy to the sport. What new throwing event?
Let's see here. Because bags aren't considered like, an Olympic event, is it? Or
I don't think so.
Because I know, because isn't it on ESPN the Ocho?
The Ocho, or I think they have the ACL, the American Cornhole League, which
okay. Because I would say either that, or if I just had like pick something, like a food eating relay, like maybe like. I mean, like, yeah, you can like throw something, but like maybe like you have like a thing of pizza and you like try to spin that as far as you can.
Okay.
I'm saying that, or
the pizza toss. You get like a pizza and see how far it goes.
Yeah, like if you do that, I'm saying a food eating relay with a bunch of big boys, like just like a food eating relay, a food throwing relay. I mean, I want to see how far you can chuck like the world's biggest watermelon or something like that.
So are you going to grade it on the impact where it blows up? Like, because obviously the watermelon's going to break, but the watermelon toss, that'd be pretty, that's a lot of food. And then you just get to eat it after, right?
Yeah, like I'm saying that, or I mean,
would you spin for the watermelon toss like they do in Hammer?
Ooh, well, see,
or
this is maybe there's multiple ways to throw a watermelon.
I guess we'll have to go through the research because to see what way you could throw it farther.
Because I feel like there should be like a how far you can throw it, or like how high you can throw it. Because then,
they don't have that.
I'm like that. Hear me out. Yeah, they don't have a height thing. I mean, like they have like jumping, but like how far up can you throw like a watermelon, or like I mean, or see like a strongest arm competition with like I don't know, a potato or like
a weighted potato. Guess see how high you can throw it.
I'm saying that, or maybe like some accuracy stuff big. I'm starting to get in like the NFL Pro Bowl. And
I think we are helping out the NFL Pro Bowl. Like have an eating competition. Like have them eat like 10 wings or whatever. Open up their mouth, all clear, go, 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 and they eat. See how fast they can eat. Because I know the Pro Bowl has just turned into flag football and this and that. I think we invented that. But like for the throwing event, we're on to something with the watermelon for height. The watermelon toss for height. You have like a big old stick. Or like those vertical tests. You just have a big old pole, throw up a watermelon. It needs to be a certain weight.
And then like, I mean, I don't know if judges are like the best for it. Cause I mean, just throwing whoever throws the highest is obviously the one who wins. But also like maybe getting brownie points off like the greatest impact, like greatest explosion too. So it's like.
Slow-mo, they get like video, they're looking back at like, this one didn't have too much of a splash.
It didn't have too much impact on it, Jim. I don't know about that.
I don't know. I think we're at the document points. He's not going to get a 10, but he did win for height. Oh my goodness. So I think we really came down to it. The watermelon toss for height and for style. And then Pro Bowl, if you want to add in a food relay for your big offensive lineman, that would be sweet. Now we're going to move on to another just fun random question. You know what? My mind's just still on how high I can throw a watermelon. You see how far, like maybe there's like a world record, or definitely should be the next Olympic event. Let's go. Give us the credit.
That's what I'm saying. Especially you can't forget about the explosion too.
The explosion, yes, and then gets judges. It brings a whole new personality to the sport of track and field. Because you have that like gymnastics and this and that, all about judging.
Yeah.
What about the explosion of a watermelon? It's funny we talked about the Pro Bowl like eating competition because actually one of my questions is referencing to that in the Bremner Cup. So as you all know, Cornell and Co compete in every sport, and they have this big old cup that out of all the wins of the sports, whoever has more wins for that year gets to keep the cup for a year. And do you think we could beat them in a food eating competition? Whether it's a relay, we can set up this food competition any possible way, but like get their dogs at eating and our dogs at eating. Like who's gonna win?
Hmm. I don't know because I guess I would need to see their side of things, but I mean, gosh, just sitting. I mean, you even know, just sitting at the football table, like people will be coming back, like on plate four, and it's like, hey, who wants to go make a panini, or who wants to have a cereal social?
Yes, core memory, cereal social food in my heart.
No, it's like I mean, we definitely would have a lot of guys who could definitely eat, but also I mean, just looking at their football team alone, I mean, they just have like a couple 6'4" guys who like, they're pretty big, not like, muscular, but they definitely got a bigger gut than usual. I'm like, they, they definitely do have something they're definitely either eating a lot or going out a lot. But no one has the Hilltop Cafe like us. So we clearly have the more superior food. So we've been training our whole lives for this. So I'm definitely taking a Cornell in an eating contest, and then we don't even need to talk about a relay because I mean we already got it.
So the relay, no matter what, I was thinking like like 4th of July, Nathan's hot dog eating competition. See how many you can eat and like tally it all up. But from your reasoning is because our food, we've been training for it because the Hilltop is honestly one of the best foods. Like people who say the cat food isn't good,
Mhm.
y'all are wrong. I'm just gonna be honest about it. So I totally agree. I don't know if I'd make the cut. It might have to be the sixth man, depending on how many people we get it. But I can put away some food.
Because like you said, depending on what it is, like I mean, if it's just hot dog eating contest, I mean, gosh, we always get those. They might have a slight advantage because every now and then we get the turkey dog, so it's
Oh,
it's a little
true.
it's leaner and stuff, so we can pound those things down. But the Nathan's all beef hot dog, those I mean, I don't know if there's a big difference. I mean, it
I
doesn't
mean,
stop me, but
pizza or burgers, I think we'd win because those were a staple at the Hilltop. So if it's like, how many, large pieces of pizzas you and your team could eat, like we're
Mhm.
scarfing it down, I think we're winning because pizza was definitely the go-to there. Or burgers. Burgers 8-2 we'd be up there.
I would say that or
Who would be on it? Who would be on the eating team?
well, obviously is it your buddy Colton Clark?
Golden, yeah. Golden would be the MVP.
I'm sorry, like I mean the amount of like ice cream cones I've seen that man devour, just like I'm like he's obviously my first overall pick right now. Um I would say put a couple of the Corley twins on there
Okay,
because
they can put away the food.
like I'll just be sitting there, they'll eat a full plate. It's like time for another one. It's like, okay, time for another one. We get up there, come back. It's like, gosh, that cheeseburger chowder was really good. Time to go get some more. I'm like, dude, this is plate 3. What is wrong with y'all? Like my stomach, I would say I get full quick, but then I digest fast. So it's like I'll eat dinner, I'll go back to my room. It's like time to pop open those Cool Ranch Doritos, I guess. But
No, oh my goodness. I think that'd be a good squad, and then you and me would be on the back end of it. We run it, a
oh yeah.
5-man squad. The Corleys, Colton Clark, Brevin Hahn, and myself. Let's go, Co. I'll take you on. And I can put I'll put a pizza away. So that would, if I had to like choose for me to be most successful, I think pizza would have to be the go-to. But the older
I
I've gotten, I think the more I can eat, which is scary. But that's awesome.
It was definitely my freshman year. I could I could probably challenge anybody because I mean that was the calf at its peak, and so sometimes like yeah they served the hamburgers and like the pizza all the time at that time, and so I was like sometimes I got a little bored, so this is when my food craving went a little wild. So I took a hamburger, I threw a piece of pepperoni pizza on it. This is why I'm a lineman, by the way. Then I put the pasta on it, And then I went to the salad section. I started putting like the pickles and stuff around it. Then on top of that, I had to put like an extra layer of cheese. And I would go down and sit at the football table, and everyone would just be looking at me like, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I mean, it's worth trying something.
What was it good? So you put burger, pizza, pasta, and a little bit of salad stuff all on a burger. Did you have like 2 buns on top of it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Was
still
it
had
good?
something. It was definitely it was like, oh, and then I also put fries on it too. So it was like the ultimate carbo load like meal. And so everyone's like, "Oh, do you got a big event?" I'm like, tomorrow I'm gonna be. I mean, no, tonight I'm gonna be going out to score. So I will say it's definitely hangover proof though.
Gotcha. Noted. I just, it's funny, like some of those weird food like combinations you can make. But if you ever seen iCarly spaghetti tacos,
Oh my gosh.
dude, I made them and I actually love them. And the wife doesn't. I'm kind of upset, but I'm like, they're actually good. You just like you make the taco meat, and you just make the pasta, put the marinara, you put it all on a taco shell. Y'all try it. I didn't get to do that at Cornell because the tacos they made were already like full and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But the burger, fry, pizza, pasta. Wow, that's quite the combination. Did you have to use a fork, or did you just like pick it up and?
I picked it up. I know like there's like be some fries that fell out and stuff, but I mean that's just like a later dinner.
Exactly.
Because I mean it'll just all start like forming its little sections on the plate. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll have a fry, and then like some pizza fell off, so I'll like mix the pizza and pasta, and so it's like I mean that's how I ate my freshman year at least. I haven't done that because I know that was definitely a dinner thing. Because lunch they would always have like something fantastic for lunch. And so, especially at dinner after COVID, they stopped serving the pizza after lunch. I know pizza was a strictly lunch thing.
Weird. That's crazy. Do you have a picture of this? I want to like of this masterpiece, or is it just it's like a mythical creature?
I would say it's probably a mythical creature. There's definitely some of the guys I graduated with. Like I know Landon Lockington will always remember this because he was scarred for what I brought back. And he's just like looking at me like, "What the heck are you doing, Brevin?" I'm like, "But I'm hungry."
This nonchalantly like I'm hungry. That is amazing. No, so good. Man, I'm next time I go to the calf, if I ever go back, I am going to try that. Like,
go to try that,
and I'm gonna take a picture.
You're gonna take a picture.
I'm gonna do it. That's like a eating challenge at some restaurant. Like, try this, the Brevin Burger. Here's your NIL deal. Dang it, we missed an opportunity.
Oh my gosh.
Dang it.
Brevin Burger or the Brevin like carbo loader or something.
The Brevin CarboLoader. Boom.
Hey, come on. Like
anyone.
If Red Robin's listening, I got an idea for them.
Red Robin, yes, let's go. Let's move on to our next question before I get too hungry here. We're gonna totally change up the not vibe, but the conversation, the topic here. The board game you would be the GOAT at. What is like the board game that if your life depended on it, you're gonna play it and beat the Martians before they abduct you?
Well, if any of my close relatives, friends who lived in my suite, anybody knows me, it's Monopoly. I will own anybody in Monopoly.
Own.
See, even Isaac agrees. And actually, speaking of Isaac, he made an appearance today. Look at this guy.
No, is that a cardboard cutout?
It's a cardboard cutout of Isaac.
And we're now just hearing about this?
Oh, so right now I'm in Isaac's old room. I kind of just took it over after he left for his apartment. So like there's his like little thing right there. He has like Iowa posters and stuff. Mandalorian one's mine right here. And then I see. That's a little thing right there. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, it's like I'm in his old room, and so I was like looking over to my right during our little break, and I'm like, oh man, everyone would love to see this right here.
Oh my goodness. Anyone who does not know, Isaac Hahn is his brother. He was a quarterback for Cornell. He's a quarterback for a semi-pro team. He also graduated from Marion. And now he's making his first appearance on the Zizzy podcast.
I'm pretty sure this is his junior year picture. Yeah, because that's our.
Is that
that's
life
our,
size?
yeah, it's pretty big. I mean, look, it cuts off right there. But yeah, look at this guy.
That is legendary that he still has it. I absolutely love it. We're gonna have to clip that, put it out there. So Monopoly, let's go back to it. Monopoly.
Yeah.
Why are you like the best? You don't have to share your secret because I love Monopoly. Give me a good Monopoly game and make people go bankrupt. Like I love that. I play the long game when I play board games. Like I will outlast you either way. But like, is there a strategy? Do you first? I guess the question I should rephrase this. Do you buy everything on the first round? The first round on the table.
Yes, I would say. I mean, you buy everything you can get. I mean, I would say the more properties, the better. Until like you make it to your second round, it's like, I mean, you're not making anything. You're starting to like get low on money. But the thing is, like, no one else has anything, so like no one else is really going to kill you unless they're incredibly lucky and get like both the dark blues like Boardwalk and Park Plays and anything like that. But I would say buying everything is like the most important. And then like I play there's this one I bought on like the PlayStation 4, so I didn't have to like set up anything. So it's like some people say it's like rigged, which like I mean it's not like rigged towards me. I'm not saying I won all the time on that one, but like some people like, oh no, it's definitely like rigged, or like they roll doubles 2 times and then they're already around the board. But like we're playing in person. This is the one thing people don't like, which I cross my heart. I hope to die. Like I did not. I love. I want to be the banker because I'm the only one who I trust.
Okay.
Like I'm not stealing any money and stuff, but I like to add some extra rules to it. Like I haven't played the base Monopoly game. Like I mean, I think I would still do fine on that.
Yeah.
But I add some extra rules to it to like make other people enjoy it before I crush them.
Okay, so first off, we are doing the full breakdown of Monopoly. This was not on the agenda, and I absolutely love it because I love Monopoly too. Like, get a good group of friends and like just really get down to it. And you're trying to make the deals. Like, I'll trade you this, but I'll give you this. Give me like a $500 like discount as well. I don't know if that's the actual way to play it, but that's how I always play. It's like I need the third one so I can create my Monopoly of yellow, right? So I can start putting the hotels on it. Sell me it, dude. It's like, well, I'll give you 700. It's like, dude, like you bought it for 200, but like you're gonna have this, and like I'll even play the rules where it's like if I'm gonna give you like insurance. You get 3 lives that when you land on my yellow, you don't gotta pay me rent. Like I got you. But after those 3 lives, you gotta start paying me. Like those are some of the rules I had, and I absolutely love it because it brings more joy. But please enlighten us with these Brevin Hahn rules of Monopoly.
So, first of all, I like to incorporate the snake eyes rule. So if you roll snake eyes, depending on like how much money you want to give them, I typically just say like, how rare snake eyes is. I just give them like $1,000.
$1,000, like, man.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes like you'll be super desperate, and so you're just wishing on them snake eyes the whole time.
True.
And so like I like to get money out too, because I definitely like playing the long game. I like seeing my victims crushed. I sound so evil when I say that, but Monopoly just brings a different side to me.
Okay, so the snake eyes rule, which I mean, so what you're saying is money buys happiness. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Have you played with the free parking rule that like any like taxes or any like extra money goes to the middle, and then if you land on free parking?
Yep.
I always like to do that. And then another rule I like to add is depending on like I ask everybody if they're fine with that. Yeah. I mean, everyone loves more money. So I asked him like, okay, so if you land on go, you can either collect 400 instead of the 200, or you can go anywhere you want on the map.
Whoa. So what you're saying is you collect can you just do the classic, like I'm just gonna collect 200? Oh, I guess you do 400.
Yeah, so yeah, like if you land on it, like okay, you want to double or you want to go to jail and then go to jail if it's like late game. And gotcha. So like I know not everyone's like
is it only if you land on it? What if I pass it, right? I go.
Yeah, if you pass it, it's just 200.
Okay. So you're saying like, ooh, you hit the jackpot, you landed on it. Okay. I like that rule. So like, yeah, if I really wanted to, I'm gonna go to jail, sneak in jail for a little bit, try to survive.
Because I
Okay.
mean those late games, I mean that's when it starts to really kill you. So
You're like, don't roll a
that's why
seven. Don't roll a seven.
I
Oh,
know.
I laid it on home
Or
luck that has a hotel, and I'm spending $1,000. Luckily,
yeah. Or
needed
you can
snake
be
eyes.
that scumbag who just goes right straight to free parking. Because I'm thinking I might take this out like future ones, but free parking, I also at least put a $500 bill in the middle
Yep, of course.
to
Everyone
start.
does. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like they just like, well, why would I want the 400 when I could just go to free parking? Or it's like that's their choice to go over there. I'm like, okay, I didn't really think this out. It was a newer one I thought of, but
There's a
it was like
loophole.
I haven't layered all of them on. It's just like I typically pick one, or sometimes I do double, but I like went all three at once, and they're like, I want a free parking. Oh, I guess I didn't put one in that say that you can't, but
Right. It's not. It's like rule 1A. You cannot go to free parking.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we're gonna have to play Monopoly here soon. I think I
Hmm.
got one. Oh, I have this weird Target version. Anyway, we'll have to get together and like get the dudes together. Like, all right, we're playing Monopoly. Like, have you ever finished a game of Risk?
Oh yes, yes, I
Dude,
love
it
Risk.
took me and my buddies 6.5 hours this was when I was in high school to play a game of Risk, and we legit he just gave up because it was this one cool Risk where they had like the moon and you could travel, and I knocked out
Oh,
all my other buddies and I had the entire world except for the moon, so I'm legit just sending up all these people to go fight him at the moon, and he's like, all for one. Winner takes all. I said, all right, this is 6.5 hours in, and I won, and I was like, yes, I took over playing it, and but that's also a long one I love to do. So that's awesome. We're definitely have to get together. Maybe like get
hmm.
a Mickey Zizzy podcast event. Like, here we are, the first ever Monopoly championship.
And then make sure the camera's on me because I promise I don't take the money. I
Yeah.
don't.
The banker watches.
The bankers the thing the thing is that just quickly, like I think the people next to me are the ones who rob the bank more than I would ever do that. Because like I would like look down, I'm like, I had like 500 sitting here, then like my cousin's just sitting there like this like,
You're giving it away. We are definitely. I'm gonna have to put that on my summer to-do list is to play Monopoly with Brevin on. But let's move on to my last question. Like I said, it's gonna be more of this lighthearted, like what kind of crazy conversation can it erupt to be? But if you had to create your $1 billion invention, which I don't know if you want to share it because if someone steals it, but an invention you have to create, ready, go.
um
He did not get the
uh,
questions before this, everyone who's listening, so he's legit coming with the stuff on the spot.
yeah. I guess I thought of this as a superpower, but I guess if you can like find a self-wash like suit, not like not washing like the soup, but like so you wouldn't have to take a shower anymore. And so it's like, okay, I'm a little busier on this day. And so like you put on like these clothes that like, like rinse you off and dry you off right like instantaneously.
So self-washing clothes. I've never heard of that. That actually, I mean, I think you'd pretty sell, especially those people who are super busy all the time or like working back to
Yeah.
back. They're like, I don't want to shower when I can put this on. I'm like, all right, I'm all clean.
Because like yeah, I do like a good shower from time to time, but like if I'm going from like coaching to like my job, it's like okay, well I know I'm a little sweaty because I'm still running out on the field and stuff, and all like the older coaches like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not an athlete anymore. But like I mean I'm getting a little sweaty, or like I mean just if you're just sitting in like the room, like maybe like if your like pits get a little sweaty, just like that's like
Press like a
maybe
button,
adds
like
like
an Iron Man suit.
deodorant. Yeah. Oh my. And yeah, exactly like that. Like
Gotcha.
how awesome that would be. Just
Or
like
yeah,
just quick shower, cleaning up, or like you're late for like a date, and it's
put on
like
the clothes.
it's like you like
Or you're
uh,
nervous at the date, right? And you go to the bathroom, like, oh man, I got the pit stains. You always see in the commercial. You press it, clean yourself, go a bit more confidence. You could be at a job interview, right? You're at your job interview. You're starting to sweat, starting to freak out. Hey, can I go use the restroom? You leave. Or if it doesn't make noise, just do it right there. Like you're like taking a shower as you're in your job interview. Like, okay, I'm smelling good. You go.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm like I know I had this thought of like a superpower also. I'm like, it was definitely after lifting one of the days. I was like, oh, I smell so bad. What if I could just, shower without, not having to shower? Like a superpower. Like everyone was sitting there, it's like, So I have like your three wishes and like a genie in the bottle thing. You would pick self-washing like yourself. I'm like,
Brevin could
okay.
wish for money, this and that, be the president. He's like, no, I want to self-wash myself. Never have to take a shower again. I think clean thoughts, and that'd be cool.
But no, it's like I mean, if there was like a suit too, or like just like any type of clothing that you could wear, I'm like I would definitely do that.
So would it be the scientific like method of like not actually drenching your body, or would it like wet down your body, soap it up, dry it all up all in one like
I'd say
body?
maybe like there's like a timer, like there's like a quick rinse. No, kind of
Oh,
like a not dishwasher, but
a dryer.
yeah, a dryer or washer. It's like you got quick rinse, and then you got long one, which is like might take like a minute or something. Like because remember, you still got to save time on this, and so it's like I don't know, or like you have to be like stationary for like the long one, and so like you can't go anywhere. But the quick one, it's like you get the pits, you got the down here area, you got maybe like put some conditioner in your hair, and like voila.
Gotcha.
I'm just like imagining like all like those like little robot arms coming down and like fixing you from the suit and stuff.
Well, maybe that would maybe it's like an object, like almost like an app on your phone that you're like, sweet, boop, like scans you and like stuff comes out, like does your hair for you and like drenches your clothes, dries it all up, crystal clear. You get the little like shining thing on it. That could be it, just like a device.
See, this is why we need Iron Man in our life because I mean, he made a freaking armor out of just clicking his chest and then the nanotech going
Right.
around him. I'm like as much as cool as this is, I mean, gosh, can I like have a portable car or something like that? Or
That's for real though. He could just be or like in his briefcase, like, all right, I'm out of here. Like I can get there super quick.
oh, another idea, portable car. All right, hear me out. You
Oh,
go to, I'm thinking of this as tailgating purposes. So, like, you want to get to the place, but you don't want to pay for the parking. So, it's like you get out of the car, like, done, put it in like your back pocket, and then like go have fun.
so kind of like Ant-Man, like you have your favorite matchback car and
Dang
make it
it.
big.
That's where I got it from. Ah, no, dang it. I thought this was my, no,
But like even just like a button, maybe not like that because that stuff's
yeah,
really hard to do, right?
yeah,
But that is so true. I hate going to parking and this that you can just drive up straight to the front. You're like, all right, we're here. Boom, shut it down, put it in my pocket, and
yeah,
then when you could walk away from the big event and be like, oh, this place doesn't look too busy. Let your car get in. That would
yeah.
be. I would take my money. I would purchase that in a heartbeat. I'd be like, all right,
Good.
save up the money for it, and it would just save time, a ton of time. Like, oh,
Then I mean, just thinking of like big cities, I mean, you wouldn't have to worry about like parking on like the side of like New
right.
York or something like
And
that.
it gets to the places you have to go around for like 30 minutes or like in big parking lots at big events. Like, there's no parking in this place. Well, I'm going to drive to the front. Whoop. Yeah, I'm already in. Save a lot of time.
Or have those people like lose their cars, like, hey, found a new car,
Found a
everybody.
new car. Yeah. You have to like put on your keychain and like kind of like an Ant-Man. Wow. All right. If this, see, we're the idea people, so the science people who are magically listening to this, make it happen. We would be the first in line to buy it. Absolutely amazing. Electric vibes, awesome vibes here on the Mickey Zizzy podcast. This is the main reason why I wanted to bring Brevin on. Is this is your dorm room? This is your locker room talk. This is just the stuff that dudes like talking about. You know, it's always the meme of he's probably out cheating. It's like, no, we're talking about if we can blow up a car and make it easier for travel. So yeah, anything else from you before we sign off here? Like I said, it's been absolutely amazing. Thank you for your time. I know you're gonna do big and great things. You just graduated kind of in that frame of trying to find a job. I wish you the best to find that. But anything else
Thank you.
before we sign off?
Can you do cartwheels in a car going down a hill? Or is that just rolling your car down a hill?
Cartwheel. You're saying like
So like
a cartwheel?
so like if you're in a car like car's like tumbling down a hill, is that the car doing a cartwheel or is that just it rolling?
Well, what is your definition of a cartwheel? Right, it's like going from your feet, right, which would be
Yeah.
the tires, your hands. I think it'd be a cartwheel, a car cartwheel.
Just do car cartwheels sometime. Might be a little dangerous, but you do it.
It would definitely have to be a cartwheel. I mean, there's no way it wouldn't, because by definition, that's what a cartwheel is. And could you do like, a head cartwheel, whatever you want to call it? That's where my mind's going. But yeah, like rolling a car is just doing a cartwheel. Sweet, you did a cartwheel.
To all
Car
the people who roll their cars in the ditch, congratulations, you did a cartwheel with a car.
We hope you're okay and no
We
other
hope you're
severe injuries
okay.
happen.
Not
But
not not saying to do this, but just a thought. Just
Mickey Mouse Podcast gets sued because they say go do a cartwheel in their car. No, that's awesome. Yeah, it definitely would have to be a car cartwheel. Now my mind is envisioning these cars like tumbling and rumbling. That is awesome. Well, any other questions? I love it. Like, do you have any off the top of your head that we
No, that's the only one I could unless we want to go down a deep bag of items I can talk about for another 3 hours, but
this is our longest interview. 3 hours.
Longest one ever.
I mean,
so there's Monopoly, and then there's this one, and then there's.
Okay. We're gonna hold on to that. You write that down because we're gonna have you on next season or later on this season, and it's gonna be like the most anticipated interview. Like, what in the world was Brevin Hahn gonna bring to the podcast? This question that we talked about for hours on end. I'm gonna have you pin it, and we're gonna come back to it. Like, it's legendary.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna be thinking about it, and you can't tell me because I want to be like wowed when it first happens.
All right, I'm gonna tell Isaac to pin it. So, just for everybody, look at this guy.
Alrighty.
Look at that. Look at that guy.
Well, this is Mickey from the Mickey's podcast. This is Brevin, the cardboard cutout of Isaac. It's been absolutely electric. Thank you all for listening, and go just anytime if Brevin's ever on anything, we'll definitely share it. And if you ever see him, bring up Monopoly and this and that. But that is it for now. Thanks for listening. Peace, y'all.